We're here. We're live again. We're here to talk about the Yankees actually winning in Anaheim. So join us, won't you?
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen every day. I'm one of your hosts, Stacey Gotsoulias. SupplyHouse.com is the reliable way to get parts fast. Shop for your next plumbing, h-vac, or electrical job and get fast shipping from coast to coast at SupplyHouse.com. With me, as usual, is my co-host, Brian McKeon. Brian, much better night.
Well, Stacey, Heel's ERA is below 2 now, which is crazy to even think of. You got I'm calling it an inside the park home run. I know they're not going to call it that on the stat sheet, but I'm calling it an inside the park home run. It counted like that in Little League, and it's going to count like that tonight. And yet this should instill a little more confidence in you from what we said last night, right? The bullpen's going to blow games. Guys are going to blow leads. It's going to happen in games. But you got to believe that the next time it's not going to happen, and they're going to be able to recover from it. And that's what happened tonight. I mean, Clay Holmes tried his best to lose that game for the Yankees, but they didn't. And he came through at the right time. He pitched well. He proved that, he's becoming that dominant close that the Yankees have wanted him to be and traded for last year, 2 years ago. So you got back to your marquee type of win that you really wanted in this game, right? It's not all Disasterville like it was yesterday.
Right. Yeah. I just, the ninth inning, I was like, not again. We're not doing this again. I refuse to believe that we're doing this again. I don't want this Anaheim goofiness to happen when Anaheim is not a good team. This is not the Anaheim of the 2000s. It's not even the Anaheim with Shohei Ohtani and a healthy Mike Trout. This is just a team that is not doing well. And we saw some glimpses of why they're not doing well. Some of their defensive plays that they made in the game. We'll talk about that in a bit. So coming up, obviously, we're talking about the game. We're going to talk about, we did not get to talk about this yesterday. We're talking about Angel Hernandez retiring because that was a big deal. And then
I wanted to wait for more, just before you mentioned this. I wanted to wait for more news on that to come out because it was still a little weird yesterday.
Yeah.
You didn't there was no explanation for it. It just came out the news like, oh, by the way, he's retiring. Like, right. I'm like, there has to be more to this. So that's why we kind of waited a day.
Right. And then we're going to preview the finale against Anaheim because the series is going to come to a close Thursday night. So let's get into this game. Let's talk about the play that made this happen. The Yankees are playing really well. So it's not surprising that it's only 3 at this point because it's almost June, I think if the Yankees weren't doing as well as they're doing, we probably would see more Boone blowups. But that was just...
He's averaging 1 per calendar month.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Which is a good pace for him, right? Compared to most years, it's a good pace for him. These things are going to happen. I think this does roll into the conversation that we're having in the second segment about Angel Hernandez and about him retiring, because in part Boone's comments were right on Angel Hernandez, but on part Boone's comments were wrong. And I think Boone was taking more of a shot with his comments at all of Major League Baseball's umpires and not not just specifically Hernandez.
Right.
Because he's not saying, hey, don't blame Angel, it's fine. What he's saying is there's a lot of really bad umpiring going on.
Yeah.
And it's true. It's true. I mean, we're moving. It's kind of sad because, as a traditionalist, I do sit here and say I don't want baseball to move in the direction of robot umpires. Like, I want them to keep the standard old school umpires. And then I look at the reason why they're going to robot umpires and the reason why I think it's inevitable by 2030 we're going to have it, because the umpires are doing it to themselves. Like, the umpires can't complain when they go to robot umpires. You guys have been bad enough to create this problem. Right. That's why the problem exists. So, right. It's just, it's constant. I feel like it's every game, every week, that there is a new complaint you could have about the umpires.
Well, I had a few issues. One, I don't have the graphic. My friend showed me the graphic because he was showing the strike zone for the Angels pitchers and the strike zone for the Yankee pitchers. And there was a discrepancy there. Yeah. I'm just going to say it. And if they ended up losing this game because of some stupid call behind home plate, I would have been really, really angry. As for the interference call, I believe it's correct per the rules, but the umps have discretion and they don't always have to call it. And most people's thoughts were, well, where was Soto supposed to go? He's supposed to go to the base. And if Neto, is that his name, doesn't make the play correctly, then how is it his fault that he's trying to get back to the base? So I think that's what Boone was mad about. But this interference rule that's suddenly rearing its ugly head in baseball, there have been a few instances now where people are questioning the umpires, and it's just not helping their case. Even if they're right, they're still doing things wrong. It's just weird.
Well, and you see it often too with the old school mentality of you kind of like the neighborhood plays, right? And you kind of see those sometimes the neighborhood play is okay and it goes by the wayside and we accept it and it's casual, everyday, regular baseball. And then other days the neighborhood play doesn't exist anymore and is completely thrown away, and we're going to call it letter of the law to today's rule book. All we want as sports fans in any sport you're watching, football, baseball, basketball, hockey, whatever you want to call it, all you're asking for is consistency out of the officials, right? And like you said it perfectly with the strike zone, right? If you're going to call the low strike against the Yankees, call it against the Angels. If you're going to call the outside strike, the high strike, whatever it is, stay consistent with both teams. That's where I get the most annoyed with officiating. I'll admit it because I'm a Yankee fan, right? But when I'm watching a baseball game, if Aaron Judge strikes out on a ball that's low in the zone, but the umpire's been calling that pitch all night, I'm the first one to stand up and say, can't take Judge's side here. Because by the letter of the law,
right. If they're
by the letter of the law, is it a strike? By the letter of the law, is it a strike? No. But are they calling that low strike all night and it's now the seventh inning? Yes. So Judge needs to know it because we've all played baseball and we all know that when the umpire is calling the low strike, everyone remembers their dad screaming from the dugout, hey, he's calling that all night, swing at it. So right. you know that and you remember that. And we all know that since we're children pretty much. So I'm the first one to stand up and say that, hey, same thing with football, the pass interference calls that everyone gets annoyed because they're judgment calls. And a lot of baseball is judgment calls. But the same thing with the pass interference. If that call's been called all night and then it gets called in the fourth quarter, I live with it because they're staying consistent. What bothers people is when you don't call the low strike all night and then all of a sudden in the eighth inning with the bases loaded, Judge gets rung up on a ball 2 inches off the top of the dirt. That's where people get annoyed and they have a case because you just want the consistency. And again, we hear the umpires when they don't want the robot umpires, they don't want to get replaced, and you don't want to take the human element out of the game. I hear all of those things, and in part I agree with those things. But then I sit there and say, you're doing it to yourselves. You're shooting yourselves in the foot because the worse and worse these umpires get it at games and calls and in big moments, and it feels like in big moments they like to make it about themselves, like it's a weird ego, like superstar, hi mom, I'm on TV kind of thing, where I don't know where it comes from, but you get what I'm saying, right? When the manager comes out and the umpire is like looking for a fight, you see that all the time when the umpire is like walking towards him and he's got his chest sticking out. It's like, what are you doing, dude? Like this, none of this is about you. You're an umpire in a game, you make a lot of money, you travel the country, you go to all these ballparks, and you call baseball games. None of it's about you. So, like, I don't know where it comes from. I don't know why it happens, but, Yankees got the win, rant over.
Yeah. We'll go more into the win in segment 2, and then we'll also get more into the Angel Hernandez retiring news, because it was strange the way it happened, how quickly it happened, and just everything surrounding it. So we're going to get into that in a moment. Mm-hmm. Get supplies from the site that's made for the skilled trades. SupplyHouse.com. SupplyHouse.com is the reliable way to order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Shop a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 top brands and get your order delivered right to your door with fast shipping from coast to coast. If you need help with an order, you'll get expert support and industry-leading service from the friendliest folks in the business, and you talk to a real person every time. Pros in the skilled trades get a competitive edge by joining SupplyHouse.com's free Trademaster program. Every Trademaster gets access to a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Join the thousands of trade pros already benefiting from their free membership at supplyhouse.com/TM, which stands for Trademaster, and you can order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies from anywhere with just a few clicks. That's supplyhouse.com. Welcome back to Locked On Yankees. Locked On Sports Today is a free 24/7 sports streaming channel programmed for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the noise. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news. Streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And don't forget, you can catch every pitch of the Yankees' hometown broadcast with SiriusXM. Just download the SXM app and search the word Yankees. So let's talk about Luis Gil, because my goodness, he is so good. I love watching him.
I want to put out a poll question to our fans that are listening to the show. Everyone that's listening live and in the chat, you guys can comment if you'd like. Who's been the player of the team for the Yankees in the month of May? Because now that the month is over, is it over? Now that the month is over, who won player of the month for the Yankees? Is it Aaron Judge or Luis Gil? Because Luis Gil went 6-0 and got his ERA under 2, but Aaron Judge, played like Mickey Mantle all month. I honestly don't know the answer to the question, and I want to have an answer, but I don't know the answer.
Maybe we could do pitcher of the month and player of the month,
right? Because you got a 14 strikeout performance out of Gil. Right, in this month, he went 6-0 in all of his starts, which means he went deep into the games. I don't know the answer to it.
He's just been incredible. So, in the game against Anaheim, 8 innings, only 2 hits, the 1 earned run on that home run by O'Hoppe, which, by the way, he's only the 4th player to take Gil deep this season, and it was the first time that Gil allowed a home run on the changeup, and it's only the 2nd extra base hit that anyone's gotten off the changeup this season. So 8 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts.
Yeah, just elite performance. As good as it gets, as good as he's been all year. I think you can officially call him the ace of the Yankees staff so far this season. Right? They don't lose when he's on the mound. He's had electric stuff. You got to think, and it's great to see too. Even though Garrett Cole hasn't physically been on the mound for the Yankees yet this season, it still feels like he's given an impact. Yeah. Right? It still feels like he's been an impact, and Luis Gil has cited it. Luis Gil has talked about how much of an impact Cole has had on him, and it's rubbing off because and clearly Gil is listening.
And listen to this. Since 1901, there have been 2 pitchers to strike out more than 75 batters, allow 15 or fewer runs, and give up 30 or fewer hits in at least 60 innings through their first 11 starts of the season. Luis Gil in 2024 and Jacob deGrom in 2021.
Not bad company, right? Not bad company.
Yeah. Let's briefly talk about Volpe and his 21-game hitting streak, because he's not leaving that leadoff spot. He's not. He's going to stay there.
And it's not 1 hit per night either. It feels like it's multiple hits per night. It's extra base hits. He's all over the place. And he's been a tremendous. I mean, he's the guy that you want to talk about player of the month, and you don't even consider him, and yet he legitimately deserves it because of how good he's been
and making great plays defensively as well.
The progress that generally you see a slow build of progress from a guy that comes up at a really young age. Like it's weird. You don't see New York sports fans can relate, especially because of the run going on right now. And I bring up a player like Alexi Lafreniere for the Rangers, right? Where he comes up into the league, gets drafted first overall, everyone wants production immediately. And he doesn't give it to you in the first 2 years. And everyone says, well, where is it? Where is it? And now all of a sudden he's playing like a superstar in the postseason. And everyone's like, oh, where was this guy 2 years ago? When you call up athletes at a very young age, like an Alexei Lafreniere, like an Anthony Volpe, it's hard to expect them to succeed immediately. And Volpe was good in year one, right? Like, he wasn't great. He was a good player. He was a solid player.
Solid, yep.
And then you saw him start to figure it out at times, right? He had months where he was really good, and he had months where he really struggled. But now you're at a point this year where he looks like a really, really good player. Like a really, really, really top-notch player, a player that I wouldn't mind them extending to one of those long deals to get at a cheaper price right now. He's not aiming for the home run ball anymore, even though that pop is there. He's not aiming for it. His fielding is excellent. There are a lot of things to love about Anthony Volpe's game.
Yep. It's a lot of fun watching him. So the Yankees eke out a win. I was just annoyed that they couldn't get hits. That was just driving me crazy because I was like, this can't happen again. When the ninth inning was unfolding, I'm like, this can't happen again. It's not going to happen again. And thank God it didn't. So I'm happy they got this.
I'm surprised what everybody thinks. And we can move the Angel Hernandez stuff to the third segment because I do think this is a massive talking point too, because when we can kill Boone, and we certainly have, for the different bullpen moves of why is this guy in, that guy in, this guy out. And those are worthy to talk about when they do happen. But I wonder where people's mindset was. And people tend to not mention it tonight, right? When Luis Gil definitely could have went out there for a ninth inning. Like, he wasn't a ton of pitches at all. Definitely could have went out there for a ninth inning. And you brought in Clay Holmes, who struggled the night before. I wonder how you feel about this, Stacey, because we don't talk about it, right? Because the game ended fine. Because they won the game. Clay Holmes got the save, and it didn't matter. If that ball goes slightly to the left or to the right of DJ or Volpe and squeaks between the two of them, and that's a base hit and the run scores to tie the game, how do you feel?
Angry.
Yeah, I agree.
I guess angry, right?
I do get the motivation behind wanting Gil to come in and kind of like get over the hump of yesterday. Right? You immediately axed yesterday, right? So you felt terrible about what happened yesterday. You lose the game. It's an awful situation. And Clay Holmes blows the save, but thing that he hasn't done much this year. And then all of a sudden, the next day, you have the opportunity to get the save, rebuild his confidence. Like that, sure. But the idea of Luis Gil closing out his month with the ability to throw a complete game, one-run performance, and get out of it like the way that I think Luis Gil would have. He wasn't even at 100 pitches yet. So, I mean, he definitely could have went out there for the ninth inning. It's one of those things, we don't talk about it because the Yankees won the game. But if the Yankees lost that game and Holmes blew a second straight save where his confidence is even more shot now because he's blown 2 in a row, and you could have kept Gil and won the game because of how much he was dealing, it's funny to me how we're not going to talk about it because they won. But I think it should still be brought up because I still think it was the wrong move. I think Gil should have been in that game. You don't get a lot of chances nowadays to get complete game shutouts. They're a lot rarer of a feat than they were back in the day. But now that they are a rare feat, it means more to get one. And to not put your pitcher out there with less than 100 pitches in an attempt to get it when he's pitching as well as he is and not showing a lot of signs of wear, I just think it was the wrong move to take him out.
Yeah, I still think they're thinking about how he's coming back from Tommy John. He's pitching a lot. They didn't want to drive the pitch count up too much. They probably also didn't want to bring Holmes in. Like, if Gil did come in the ninth and maybe gave up a hit or, allowed people on base and then bring Holmes into a not clean inning,
Yeah.
I think that might have been why that decision was made. But Holmes is just having one of those stretches, and I felt like a John Wetland save from like 96, where you're just like watching it, like, and you're like, thank you, Willie Calhoun, embedded
Hold on
Yankee,
to your seats.
Embedded former Yankee. Thank you for hitting into that double play. We appreciate it. But yeah, I'm just glad they won because now you go into Thursday's game on a high instead of a 3-game losing streak, because there was a chance that it could have been a 3-game losing streak. So at least that snapped. And yeah, I just would like to see more offense. I would like to see more offense. That would make me happy in the final game of the series. I don't think I'm asking for much. Do you all think I'm asking for much in the chat? I don't think I'm asking for much. I was saying it on Twitter all night. I'm like, okay, now score. After every great inning that Gil had, I'm like, okay, now score. Please score.
Well, you
Hello?
should be able to. You should. Speaking of the Jacob deGrom, it was a Jacob deGrom type performance today, right? 2-1 final. I mean, that's as Jacob deGrom as it gets.
Yeah, except he was usually on the losing end of a 2-1.
Yeah.
That poor guy. My goodness. Actually, wait. Let's quickly talk about this. We have time. Did anyone see what was going on with the Mets on Wednesday? Because Jorge Lopez throwing the glove into the crowd, and then
and then the comments after the game,
yes,
where he was like, "I'm playing on the worst team in Major League Baseball." I mean, that's a damaged clubhouse if I've ever seen one.
Yeah,
it doesn't help that your GM came out and said that we're going to trade everybody and we're not going to try to improve this July. That doesn't help either.
I believe he said worst teammate on the worst team. I think he doubled down on. So he did say worst team, but he said worst teammate also. So, but they're going to DFA him now because of that.
I mean,
so
yeah, that makes sense.
They're
on pace for 105 losses. And what I've said now to Yankee fans, and I'll continue to say, that is worst case scenario for the Yankees.
Yeah.
As much as no one wants to admit it, that is worst case scenario. Because when it comes to the Soto stuff, there is a point of fruition where Hal is not going to go over a certain price.
Right.
I don't think there should be. And me and Stacey will go into the day Soto signs with whoever he signs, saying there should not be a cap on the price that's of the money Soto deserves. Right. In realistic terms, there really should not. He's that good of a player.
Yeah.
However, there will 100% be a price Hal sets on it. I think it'll be an astronomical number, like $500-600 million. But there will be a price. You bet your bottom that he will tell Cashman there is a price you do not go over.
Right.
And as high as that price is for the Yankees, I do feel like Steve Cohen's price will be higher.
I still think that no one will want it. No matter what the money is, people see what happens when you go to the Mets. They saw what happened with Verlander and Scherzer, and I know they're like 90 years old, but still,
they went because of the money, though.
No, but who wants to? Yeah, but after seeing what happened, no one. I don't care about the money when it's the Mets.
It's happened a million times with the Mets. They've signed a million guys to big contracts, and they've all gone there and failed, and the guys still keep re-signing there. I mean, players in the major leagues chase money, and I think it's true. Nobody in sports now sticks with a franchise because, I just love it here. They all go for the most money. I mean, and the proof is in the pudding with Aaron Judge, right? We all thought, when he signed back, everybody made up that excuse to make themselves feel better of, he Yankee captain, he wanted to be here, yada, yada. The Yankees offered him the most money, and that's why he came back. I mean, that's what teams do.
He came back because there's no Peloton studio in San Francisco, and there was no way for him to do live classes in San Francisco. That's why he came back to New York.
Yeah, but it's the same, and Garrett Cole was the same way, because we love to throw these reference cute storylines around when guys sign places, right? Like Garrett Cole, the Yankee fan today, tomorrow, forever. And it was a great storyline. It was wonderful. And I loved it, right? But that storyline is really easy to follow after he signed for $330 million, right? No one else offered him that much money. The Yankees went over and over the top and gave him that crazy deal. The Dodgers weren't willing to go that far. All of these storylines work out. I know what you're saying, right? Does Soto really want to, go? Soto played on a losing team for the majority of his career with the Nationals. He played on a losing team with the Padres. He could play on a losing team and still be a Hall of Famer. And I do agree. I think if the Yankees offer $600 million and the Mets offer $615, I think he's signing with the Yankees. But I think if the Mets lose 102 games and Steve Cohen goes into the offseason pissed off and the Mets aren't close to a playoff spot, I think then what you're going to see is the Yankees might offer $6 and Cohen might say, here's $800 million, turn it down. And then you won't see him turn it down. He won't do it.
All right, coming up, Angel Hernandez finally leaving us. And we're previewing the finale against the Angels.
It's winner take all time in the NBA and NHL, and FanDuel's giving you a shot to bring home a big win of your own. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. How about later on tonight, everybody? We will get Yankees Angels again in Anaheim. Yankees are a pretty big favorite, but you can parlay them with the under, right? No one's scoring runs in this series. The over-under is 8.5. Maybe the Yankees will hit Pablo Sandoval, but are the Angels going to hit Carlos Rodon, who's been awesome in his last few starts, and is going to look for a redemption performance against the Angels, who last year he walked up the mound and was laughing and everything. It was a whole thing. Yankees under and the money line on the Yankees to win the series and go on to San Francisco on a really good high note. I like that. And you should do it on the FanDuel Sportsbook. That's $150 to bet on spreads, money lines, player props, and more. All you got to do is visit FanDuel.com/locked-on and make every playoff shot count. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Welcome back. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube, and now it's also available on the Amazon Fire TV app and the free Fire TV Channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows that are covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today now, available on the free Fire TV Channels app. Also, remember that you can catch every pitch of the Yankees broadcast, the Yankees hometown broadcast on SiriusXM. All you got to do is download the SXM app, and you can get that. Guys, but the Yankee matchup tomorrow, we'll get to this really quick just to get it out of the way. Carlos Rodon is 6-2 with a 2.95 ERA, looking to lower that against Patrick Sandoval, who's 2-7 with a 5.60 ERA. Yankees should hit Sandoval. Everyone in the league's hit him this year, and he should continue to get hit against the Yankees. And I'm looking forward to this Carlos Rodon start. I really am. Going out, there's a little bit of a redemption story going into this game in LA. Things didn't go great for him there last year, so I think he's going to come into this start with a little bit of vengeance in his soul. You're muted.
There we go. Am I here?
You're here.
Can you hear me? Okay.
We can hear you.
That's StreamYard.
That's
you,
weird.
StreamYard.
No one's ever made that mistake on the show before. It's very strange.
No, it has never happened when we do the show not live. It's never happened where someone's muted while they speak. What was I saying? Oh, it's not LA, it's Anaheim. It's like,
true. Anaheim. It is LA. It's
They named it LA because Artie Moreno is a weirdo and wanted to sound like they're from LA. Anaheim is nowhere near LA.
It's LA of Anaheim.
No, but it's not right. It's not right. Artie Moreno.
Anaheim's near LA. Anaheim's near LA. It's like Brooklyn and Manhattan.
No, it's
not.
Close. No, it's
I was
not.
just there 2 years ago. It was like a half-hour drive.
That's not Brooklyn and Manhattan. Brooklyn and Manhattan, you could walk across a bridge and get to it.
And if you drive, it's 2 hours.
No, Anaheim is
traffic.
Farther. I've been to SoCal. All right, let's talk about, speaking of Angels, let's talk about Angel Hernandez. So The news came out that he was retiring. Now, what I saw on Twitter was Angel Hernandez is retiring. And I was thinking, oh, cool, he's retiring at the end of the season because that's what you would think. And then I opened the article and saw that it was going to be effective Tuesday. And I thought, wait, I'm sorry, what? How is that happening? And I don't believe the whole, I want to spend more time with my family. That was the whole thing at the beginning. But then it turns out that the league was like, we're done with you. We've had enough of your nonsense. Bye.
A lot of that, I think, has to do with him suing the league like 2 years ago. It's a lot easier for the league to be like, yeah, go away. After he tried suing them for them not giving him big postseason matchups after he's statistically literally been the worst umpire in the history of the game. I'm not being, but you're laughing. I'm not speaking in hyperbole. I'm being true to the word. He has been the worst pitcher in the major leagues. In the worst pitcher, the worst umpire in the major leagues for decades now. I mean, he's been that bad. He also used the classic excuse that guys use when they retire of, I just wanted to spend more time with my family. Yeah, sure. Your family was irrelevant the last 30 years when you were traveling the country making this money, and now all of a sudden, mid-season, you want to spend more time with them.
With your grown children.
Yeah, who are in their 30s.
You were with them when they were they were children, but now you want to be with them when they're in their 30s.
Yeah, and also they reached a financial settlement. Just some stats to go out the wayside. I don't think he's going to go anywhere near Cooperstown anytime soon. Angel Hernandez was dead last in correct call rate last season, where he actually was there for the entire season. This year, he's only been on a part-time role, if anyone's realized, and he's 67th out of 85 active umpires this year on a part-time schedule. And that's absolutely pathetic. In a game last month, we did discuss this when he had this game, but it still remains true. He legitimately had the worst correct call percentage of all time in a game, ever, in the history of baseball.
Well, no, it's in the history of them keeping track of it, but yeah.
They've been keeping track of it for a while now, though. So there's enough sample size to really stick with that. I do want to mention this, though, because it is really funny. Aaron Boone came out and said, the reality is he spent a lot of time in this league, cared about his craft, and I wish him well. Aaron Boone thinks that he's wrongfully been the poster child and punching bag of bad officiating. I think he's wrong. I think there's bad officiating out there, but I think Angel Hernandez deserves to be the poster child because he is the worst of the worst, literally. But I will say this. I think Aaron Boone was trying to shine a light on the bad officiating that goes on throughout all of sports, not just Angel Hernandez. However, I still think he deserves to be known as the poster child because he's been that bad.
Yeah.
The funnier part, Stace, was CC Sabathia, who took to Twitter, who posted a clip of him post-game when he got fined by Major League Baseball for talking about how bad Angel Hernandez was in a game that he officiated behind home plate when CC was pitching. And he was absolutely brutal in that game. And CC went in the post-game and basically, told Angel Hernandez what he thought about him. CC came out today and found that old tweet of him at the post-game and quote tweeted it with a Looney Tunes cartoon saying, "That's all, folks." Yep. Very petty, but damn, I love it. Damn, I love it. And it's so deserving because it wouldn't be deserving if Angel Hernandez was just bad at his job and could never catch a break, but he was cocky and weirdly confident and had a massive ego and thought he was amazing at his job. And listen, we've all done things that we weren't great at. Right? We've all done things that we've tried and we've tried to be good at and we're just not good at, right? We've all been up there. But not a lot of us have the ego to be bad at something and confident that we're good at it. And that's what he is. Right. That's what he is. And he was behind the whole movement of Aaron Boone walks out from the dugout looking for an argument and Angel Hernandez walks towards Aaron Boone like it's a show. Like now they're going to both duel over something. It's about the manager in that situation trying to get an explanation from you, not a fight so you can throw him out and make the crowd cheer. Angel never understood this. Laz Diaz never understood this, and a lot of umpires never understood this. They're nobody, not a single person ever in the history of the game from now into the future is buying a ticket to a baseball game to watch you. Nobody.
Not even your family.
No. Even they are there for a baseball game.
Right.
Everybody in the crowd is there to watch Aaron Judge, to watch Juan Soto, to see them. That's who they're there for, not to see the umpire. And umpires, for some reason, have never gotten that out of their head, especially Angel Hernandez. So everybody that's on social media giving him a bunch of flack and telling him how bad he is, and everyone's like, lay off. Don't lay off. Don't lay off. I don't think we need to. I think he was legitimately that bad at his job.
Yep. Yeah. I've never seen that many people on Twitter actually join together to be positive about the same thing, like be happy about the same thing. People from all different fan bases, like basically all over baseball. All you saw were tweets joking. Like I put, baseball fans celebrating Angel Hernandez retiring, and it was someone shaking champagne, like spraying champagne around. And that's basically what everyone was doing. It wasn't a retirement. He was fired. Yeah, he
was politely asked to leave.
Yeah.
I mean, let's call a spade a spade. That's what it was. He was asked, "Can you need to stop working? Here's a financial settlement. Go away."
Yeah. Yeah, basically. Okay. So how'd we do tonight? We do a little better with the live show, some technical difficulties, but we're getting better. Maybe by the third one, it'll go completely smoothly, which we will be doing this again after Thursday night's game. So after Rodon and Patrick Sandoval come here shortly after the game, we will be live on YouTube. So one more time, you can join or not even one more time, because I haven't mentioned this all show. You can join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club. There's a link in the description under our YouTube videos, a 14-day free trial. You get text from us. I texted out the lineup because Rizzo was moved down to 7th, and that was a big deal. You can text us questions. You can just text us hi and say, how are you doing? Those are nice too. And we will answer your questions for Fan Mail Friday. You get top priority if you're an insider. And also, you can leave your Fan Mail Friday questions under our pinned comment on YouTube on the videos from Monday through Thursday. And remember, you can catch every pitch of the Yankees hometown broadcast with Sirius XM. Oh, I almost screwed it up for the first time in like 3 weeks. Just download the SXM app and search the word Yankees. So that'll do it for this live edition of Locked On Yankees. I'm Stacey Gotsoulias.
And I'm Brian McKeon. We'll see you in roughly 24 hours.